Okay, and we're up. I think this one's in record time. I think I can do it a little. I can do it a little quicker if I already have the YouTube thing up. So I'll try to remember to do that. Because sometimes people will join and like, I wish I could just press a button and go live, but I gotta add little things to it. Yeah, just annoying bureaucracy crap. Alright, we got live chat up. What's this? Action required. PayPal. What settings is this? Oh shit. Okay, let's. Alright. So this morning, we didn't have a morning show. No, this morning I actually worked on the car. So I don't mind painting it. I don't want to do all the building and stuff and bore you guys. How I put all that together. What goes through it, what have you. But this is, as I talked about yesterday, I said I'm probably going to do the dart next. And sure enough, here is the dart. This is a metal colored dart. Hey, what's up, Ben? It's not showing you're on here, but I guess it's just retarded a little bit. It's playing catch up. So this is the Dodge Dart that already came with these graphics on it. We closed it up. What else did we do? That's pretty much it. It's pretty much stock. It's got heavy metal written on it. And we added some armored things. So, you know, when I looked at this, I'm like, all right, well, what are we going to name it? And I'll build it based on the name. And that's usually what I do first. I usually come up with a name before anything else. It's got heavy metal written on it. I said, well, we got to have, you know, we don't want to call it, you know, something different. Like, I was looking to get name suggestions, and it actually came up with Darth Vader. Like, that's a good name, right? But what's heavy metal have to do with it? So we either have to remove the heavy metal or work it into the name. So this is going to be Heavy Metal Hailstorm. And in order to make it look like a hailstorm, it's going to have twin Gatling guns. Gatling guns, mini guns, whatever you want to call them. One on the roof like this, and one of them back here on a turreted mount. So that looks like a hailstorm, right? You got two mini guns. This one's turreted. We'll just have to pretend that it can shoot all the way 360. I didn't want it all the way up here like this. You know, and then this one doesn't fit on here. Like, I think it looks better like that. And of course, this one won't be glued, you know, so that you can shoot at somebody as you go. But we have a turret on the back and one on the top. So it's a car, 12 points. This makes it 17. This is 15 more, so now we're at 32. This is a 35-point vehicle. I hemmed and hawed. I'm like, it's going to kick it into the 35-point category. It's going to look physically small for, hey, Justin, it's going to look physically small for a 35-point vehicle. The 35-point vehicles that I have look larger. But it definitely, I don't want to call it heavy metal hailstorm. It doesn't have that much more firepower, but more firepower than it. Good Lord, drink. More caffeine. I don't want it to have less firepower than other things. So, that's what it's going to be. Should be an easy build. We're going to put metallic on both of these. And it should look pretty cool. I mean, you know, you won't really know until it's weather. The weather is just like the magic, that's the magic thing. So, let's start off at the bottom. And that is with Iron Warrior's base. More beer. I should do a Gaslands smart car. You mean like a self-driving car? Hey, what's up, the Hoffman? 29 degrees. Lucky bastard. It was gray today, though, all day long. Got some rain. We hadn't had rain in probably 2 months. Not heavy or anything, it was just dreary. I think this Post-it notes, I like this to put the dry brush on here and not ruin the surface. Ruin it because it's like, it just has it's like if you have carpet, you drop something on the ground, if your floor is clean, you can find it. If you got thick shag carpet or, if you live in a pigsty, or something like that, it might not be so easy. I do not live in a pigsty. Pigsty creates chaos. I'm not a neat freak, but I wish I was. So actually, I came home today, and I'm like, oh, gotta load things in the gotta unload the dishwasher and reload it. Oh, we got some clothes that are down in the hamper. Let's go ahead and put them away, because otherwise it's a slippery slope. Next thing you know, you got snow last night. Now you're just rubbing it in. All right, we're just gonna do just a thin dry brush of this. Oh, it looks good. Looks good. I saw a post where they had magnetized their weapons. That sounds like a great idea, but I've got to build a lot of cars because I have a lot of cars. So, if I want to paint a bunch of cars, I got to build them. Well, there's no point in making them all interchangeable because there's not a big incentive then to build other vehicles. Then you're just looking at physically what they look like. And I don't want to drill in a die cast. I don't mind drilling into the plastic or using little magnets. I got little magnets, but drilling into die cast, no thank you. That's a pain in the ass. I get paid for less work than that. Let's get this edge as well. So this morning I sat down, had breakfast, and figured, okay, what are we going to build with this thing? What are we going to make? We've got to come up with a name for it. I think last night when I was trying to go to bed, I tried to figure out what it was going to call it. I'm like, all right, I think this is what we're going to call it. Right? So this morning I'm like, all right, how are we going to build that? What's it going to look like? What's it going to look like that the name seems appropriate for it? And I think the Camaro, since we're getting ahead of ourselves, I got to beat up Camaro. That's going to be next. So hopefully we'll get done with this. I should be on here for a while. So I think I should be able to do this and start on the Camaro. Now the Camaro is in the same boat that this is. It's been clear coated and already has a brown wash on it. So. Yeah, we better look at what the front of the Dart looks like. This is a what, 68? 1968 Dodge Dart. Seems like there's less people that work on cars in a garage these days. Or maybe because I live in an urban area. In the older neighborhood, there was somebody around the block or whatever that had their garage just full of motorcycles, and it was a small garage, full of motorcycles and vehicles. Something was always being worked on. I got a guy across the street that has a fetish of smart cars. Oh, is that what you meant? A smart car? Gaslands smart car? Now that you mention that, smart car is the guy that, it's like smart water. The only person that's smart is the people that are selling that shit and suckers that are buying it. Yeah, smart. I've got a little French smart car. I don't know what it is. It's a Renault, but that's what it looks like. It looks like a casket. It looks like a casket with wheels. Not physically, but there's not much space in it other than that. This guy across the street has like 3 smart cars. And he took off in it the other day. He's like, it's like they don't get good gas mileage. I don't understand what the appeal of them is. Won't see me driving one. They're expensive, first of all. I think they have some kind of a Mercedes engine, or they're made by Mercedes or something like that. Probably a finicky engine. I'd rather have a Japanese engine. You don't get any shit from a Japanese engine. It just does it as it's told. Now, you got to do your part and change the oil, but I have a feeling there's a lot of people. I don't have a feeling. I know there's a lot of people that just don't take care of their vehicles. You know, they'll have some vehicle that's like 4 years old and it's like spewing smoke. I'm like, how's a vehicle that's only 4 years old spewing smoke? You're like, you're not taking care of it. You know, vehicles are too expensive not to take care of. I'm sure there's people, hey, gas is really expensive. I don't need to put premium on this car. Well, it depends on your car. You know? I put premium on mine. I'm supposed to. You know? It's got a turbo. Don't use a turbo, you know. Don't use freaking 87 octane, and you just pay for it in the end. Oh, I think I might actually do blue wheels on this. I know that sounds wacky, but just to tie in some of the blue there, I think I am going to do that. You know, some dry brushing. We're not going to paint the whole thing and come up, but, you know, dry brush blue like they were blue, and they got all sooty and stuff. Out by me, we got a demolition derby cars down the dirt road to the corner store. Are they all kinds of different colors? Meaning on a one car? You know, like they'll have like different panels that are like, you know, beat up or not really? Like, I think I'm done. We got to do all this. We got to do all this. And we're going to have to make the barrels shinier than the rest of it so they stand out. We got to do all this. Yeah, this should be easy peasy. Demolition Derby, huh? I think I saw an ad for one the next town over. They were running some demolition derby with school buses or something like that. All different colors? Okay. Like all like patchwork. Calico cars. You know, not intentionally, just like, crap, we need a panel. Well, what do we got? Well, my car's silver, but we got a green panel. Put it on there. Who cares? It's just going to get trashed anyways, you know. That can look okay if you do it right. My crash car looked pretty good, I think. What's it called? Rocket Reckoning? I think I have another two cars like that to do. Okay, so now we have this Iron Warriors base color done on it. Alright, now we're going to go up one step, which is Iron Breaker. Yeah, Mithril Silver, you'll get your turn, Mithril Silver. Wait for somebody to ask me, hey, you should do one of those cars with the camber. You know what I mean, with the wheels like this? No. No, that's impractical. And looks stupid. You love going to demolition derbies, having a cold beer, watching them smash up. Is there betting on them? Not that I do any betting, but just seems like that'd be kind of a thing to do. I did see a demolition derby video recently, and I'm like, man, the arena, if you want to call it that, is way too small. Way too small. Did we skip? I think we skipped Lead Belcher. Lead Belcher is what I should have done next. No, we haven't done anything with it. That one's dreadfully watery. You know, it'd be like the equivalent of like playing Gaslands on like a 2 foot by 2 foot table. Or worse. You know, we're tighter than that. Double-fisted tea in the coffee. Honestly, the coffee tastes like ass. But it's going to wake the dead, hopefully. I'm not answering that call. I don't know who it is. You can leave me a message. Shouldn't be anybody calling me tonight other than somebody to see if I was coming over to play, but they haven't told me. So even if they were going to, this is you need to plan a little bit. I don't know why it's so difficult for people to figure out what they're going to do and plan a little bit. I got to do it at work. Go. Hey, Derek. Your wife gonna let you get your own account one of these days? I guess it doesn't really matter as long as she doesn't want to watch something at the same time. There is beating, but you win like elephant ears, or something. There's betting, but you win like elephant ears, or something from the Carnival food line. Sometimes a hoodie, but no cash. Okay, well that's fine. I don't really see the point in winning cash unless you win enough cash that you never have to work again, right? So like, I'm fine not I'm fine not winning the lottery. Oh, I got to go back to work? Well, are you really a winner then? Derek, I think I'm going to start a poll on the Gaslands group. You can do it if you beat me to it, but I don't know that anybody's going to answer. I'm just kind of curious how many people are not playing with the fluff. I saw your post of your gates a moment ago while I was having, we'll call it an appetizer, not really dinner, but just something to hold me over. I'll have dinner later. And you notice that you don't play by the fluff, which I know you don't. I don't. I'm just wondering how many, I think we're in the minority. I think that, I think it's probably 25% don't. And here's the thing. I feel like if I had to play the way that it was designed, that takes a big part of the enjoyment out of it for me. And I knew right off the bat I wasn't going to play the way the fluff was created. When they started talking about, yeah, all the rich people went to Mars, I'm like, time out. I'm out of here. You know? So we got people that can live on Mars, but yet we live in a place where, you're driving cars from the 1940s sometimes. Her phone and mine are oddly merged. It works, so we have no objectives. Objections. Yeah, I hear you. Like, there's probably ways I could probably make. Let's do something different. Let's go over here and mess with the Vallejo steel. Oily steel. Okay, let's see what oily steel does. We're going to end up here anyways. But there's probably a way that I could connect easier with my when I start one of these shows. I gotta do a lot of clicking just to start another one. Even though I don't want to change any of the parameters, it's literally the same parameters that I always do when I do one of my live videos, and I got to do it every time. And there's probably a sharper way to do it, but I just don't even want to get into it. It just doesn't interest me. It just doesn't interest me. All right, what color is similar to this one? Now, I'm not afraid of it being. Probably this wouldn't be bad. I'm not afraid of it being too bright because it's going to get weathered over it. So, I get it. Sometimes things aren't worth it. The fluff is about as realistic as Dick Van Dyke's English accent. I like his English accent better than the fluff. Well, all right, so let's talk about Dick Van Dyke's English accent in that, right? This was before my time because I wasn't born yet, but apparently there was so much kickback on it being so over-the-top bad Cockney. We don't know because we're stupid Americans, right? That when he went and did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, they're like, just don't even do an accent. And I think it's more out of place him not doing the accent. But, And I wasn't involved because I wasn't alive when either one of those two things came out. So, there we go. We'll start here. We'll see if we can't keep it within the lines here. And I may hate this, but I don't think I will. So I think him not having an accent at all, like he has got like an American accent, in 1910 Britain, or 1908 or whatever it is more out of place. That's a good movie, by the way. That's my brother's favorite movie growing up as a kid, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And I'm like, yeah, kid's movie, right? Then I watched it with my daughter, and I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, it's a musical, whatever, it's not, it's pretty decent. Same writer that did, it's a Fleming thing, so it's a James Bond writer thing. I think a bad accent's better than no accent. I've talked about that show about Louis XIV called Versailles. And half the actors try to do a French accent. They should have one. I'm fine with foreign movies being, I don't want them to be dubbed, but speaking another language. But like, half the actors make no attempt to do any accent at all. It's like awkward. Or, they have their standard British accent, which is like, you guys don't have an excuse. It's the Americans that can't do accents. But I've said it before, like, you're an actor, man. You're supposed to pretend to be somebody else. Like, with a little bit of training, I'd be good at it with a little bit of training. Oh, that's going to look good. That's going to look good. Or I'm going to be happy with it. You guys may hate it. I've got this blue star here. We got to work that in somehow. Of course, it's going to be weathered. Let's add a little bit more of this, and we'll leave it there. But I bet a lot of people play the fluff. I just think the fluff is just doesn't interest me. Like 40K. I've never played Warhammer 40K, right? But the idea of space orcs is stupid to me. I'm fine with, is it gene stealers? Whatever those alien guys are, right? I don't know why I would even know that, okay? I'm not thinking Tyranids. Tyranids is good. Space Marines, that's fine too, right? Because we know there's humans, right? We got humans now. Why wouldn't they be there in that? But like space orcs? Dorka borka. Or whatever it is that they say. You know, it just seems like, I wouldn't have come up with that. I would have just done things differently. And you got what? The Emperor that's like a bad guy. He's a bad guy, but he's not. But I think everybody's a bad guy in there, isn't there? Eldar. Why are there space elves? Come on, man. You want to do elves? Play a fantasy setting. Yeah, in the Emperor, basically, somebody that's long dead, and they hooked him up somebody wise or something. Let's be like, oh, we're gonna dig up Ronald Reagan and tie him up to all these things and keep him alive, and he'll run everything, or somebody. I would have just come up with something else. But, I think the game, it's a lot better than playing Car Wars, which I tried to play a long time ago. It's way too complicated. And I think the game is simple enough that if you wanted to add more detail, I haven't done it yet. I don't know that I ever will. But if you wanted hey, let's add 20 millimeter cannons or something like you were talking about the other day, right? We could be, okay, well, maybe that's 46 and it cost 13 or whatever it is that you want to come up with. It's easy to add it in there and it not be too over the top. It's easy to tinker. Much easier than adding it into DVA or something like that, where there can just be all kinds of repercussions you hadn't even planned on. It'll be easier to find the repercussions than adding into something like this. You played 40K when it first came out, Rogue Trader. Is that what it was originally called? Huh. I left after 2nd edition when they dropped the squats. Oh, I didn't realize that they... Now, see, why would they drop squats? They made figures for them, right? It's no, we don't want to support these guys anymore. They're your guys! You guys came up with the rules for them. I just don't understand making miniatures and making rules for something. It's obviously... there's some practicality to it, but if you're going about it in the wrong spirit, I don't know. Dodge Dart. This is another vehicle that looks completely different in different versions of it. I guess you could say the same thing about the Mustang. They had a Mustang that was kind of like a limp noodle. You got the original one from the 60s, the mid-60s. Then you have the Boss ones. And I don't know if there's overlap, they still made the other ones, but the classic one, the Boss ones. Then they went to the economy ones in the 70s. And then the early 80s one, which is the Fox body or something like that. I'm not a Mustang expert, but at all. I've only driven them a few times in driving games. Your son plays Tyrannus currently. He went to his first tournament. He placed close to last, but had a good time. So you had some good players. You didn't have these guys that, needed to touch grass. These folks that all they do is get out and get in arguments on the internet because they don't have a job. I'm sure some people have jobs, but if I don't have a job, you don't have any stuff. And it's like, we don't live in a communist country where, man, nobody has any stuff either. I'm not greedy, right? Like here, people have stuff and you'll be like, man, why does that fucker get something and I don't? Because he goes and works. Well, maybe I should go work too. I think we're gonna, let's do this. It needs to stand out a little bit. I never considered that a grown-ass person would just be sitting there, they just sit here at home and just play video games all day long. Because that wouldn't work. That wouldn't have worked in my household. It'd be like, well, you wouldn't have anything. You wouldn't have a car. You wouldn't have a computer to play video games. You wouldn't have anything. If you didn't go out and work, you wouldn't have a damn thing. I was reading an article the other day. I think it was yesterday. Let me think of what it was about. I knew what it was about. It was about cars in 1-to-1 scale. And it said something about, the demise of something. I don't think it was stick shift. I think it was even something more basic than that. But it basically got around to the fact that a lot of people just don't even want to drive anymore. And I get it if you live in New York City, right? Somewhere you can't drive. But if you live in suburbia, why wouldn't you want to drive? I get it. It's expensive and, it's worse every day, but I have trust issues, so I'd rather be the driver than just be some passenger, and hopefully the guy that's driving me is not on some meds that are wearing off or needs to be on some meds that they're not on. I got trust issues, so I don't mind driving. I enjoy it. I don't want to be stop and go like you're going through a drive-through. But they were saying that, there's a whole bunch of these new people. They're just not even interested in driving. Hey, what's up, Marty? What am I working on? Well, you saw that I finished that smiley dude. Did I get that smiley dude from you? What's it called? The Grin Reaper? Did I get that? I think I got that Grin Reaper from you. And I think we looked up where it came from, and I wanted to say it was a Happy Meal. And when I went back and searched for it yesterday, I found no Happy Meal references at all. Yeah, we're going to work. I put everything in my room away, clear. And I'm not going to work on anything other than the stuff that I've already started working on. So, this car, I took it apart when I was taking some other things apart. And, I went in I want to work on this one car. Well, so while I'm out there, I'm going to go ahead and take out and open up 4 or 5 other vehicles. And those 4 and 5 other vehicles I didn't do anything with. And then I wanted to work on a different vehicle that wasn't one of those 4 and 5. So I've got all these that have been broken apart, clear coated. They have a brown wash and they're ready to go. So because of that, we were able to do a new car last night. And I think it's one that you gave me. I think so. Not because it was one I wouldn't have picked out, but it just doesn't remind me of something that would have grabbed my attention and picked it out. But this one is going to be, see how it's starting to look like. Yeah. Heavy Metal Hailstorm. It's got heavy metal written on the side of it. That's the only reason it's called that. Honestly, if I was going to make something heavy metal, it would be a little bit more gothic looking. Well, let me show you the post. Aren't you on Facebook, man? I post all my stuff on there. You guys, you like knee deep in honeydews or something? This guy right here. You remember this one? I'm pretty sure I got that one from you. And I looked it up, and it was here's the front of it. It has that little face. It's like a make-believe. It's a make-believe casting. I mean, it's got elements of different vehicles. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So we're doing this one. I'm probably going to do the Camaro next. That blue Camaro, it's all chipped up. I got that one from you. Now that we know how to do chipped up things, instead of trying to repaint them, I'm going to leave them chipped up. We're going to add some rust on them and stuff. That Bronco turned out, I was really happy the way that Bronco turned out. All right, I'm going to resist adding any metal to the wheels. The wheels are going to be like, painted blue, and we're just going to weather over them. That should be good. So at this point, what we need to do is black lining. So we're going to black line these parts. Let's get one of the infinite number. I don't have an infinite number, but I probably have 100 of these. Let's do the black lining. What color is that? Strong tone, dark tone. You've been dealing with the fact that your mother-in-law is in the hospital right now. Is she local or... Oh, no, I think she is local. Wait a second. Katie can just take care of her. She's a nurse. She doesn't have to go to the hospital. Isn't that how that works? Should work that way. Well, we're going to need to go thinner than this. So I guess you didn't see the post where I went over to my brother's house over Easter, and he doesn't throw anything away, apparently. And some of the old vehicles I remember having as a kid, he commandeered them and had them, and I got some of them back. So I'm talking about like mid-1970s vintage, and they're not in good shape, and I don't care. I think it's going to be a good challenge to like put them in working order. And I always like these old die-cast models. There's always somebody on eBay trying to, And remember how I'm saying this, trying to sell them, not selling them. Selling them means they're not there anymore. They're trying to sell them for an absurd amount of money. Something that they're not worth. But, if somebody buys it, I guess it was worth it. But, an old beat up model of this size, and they want like $70 for it. And I'm like, no. Katie's basically been in her hospital room since Sunday. Didn't look good at first. In fact, thinking might go south path. She's improved in the last day. Well, hopefully she gets better. I got a friend request from you posted that stuff, and I got a friend request from your brother Gary. I guess he got excited. He's like, "Oh, this guy's doing cars or whatever." Because you showed him that truck. So I figured I accepted his friend request. I might actually like him more than you. Oh man, we gotta paint the intake of this thing. Let's just use craft paint for this. If I remember correctly, that's the sibling you get along with the best. Let's paint. Intake here. But yeah, getting back to what you were saying, Derek, I get it. I'm not really a technology person. So if this took a lot more effort to get kind of a live painting session done, I probably wouldn't have done it. I've thought, I could probably somehow, I'm sure there's a way to link Discord on here so that, people that are not idiots, basically the people that are commenting in right now, people that aren't, out throwing hand grenades, we could talk online and stuff like that. There's probably a way to do that, but, that's just a sense of frustration trying to get that rolling, Let's see, as he plays guitar, was a jock in high school, unlike me. Yeah, he's going to stay in California, huh? Well, somebody's got to stay there and pay the taxes. I looked up the 0 to 60 specs on this car. A 68 Dart. I was impressed. I was like, shit, this is as fast as my car. To 60 miles an hour. Like, that's really good for, 1968. But like I was saying earlier, Dodge Dart is one of those cars that keep the same namesake, but different iterations of them throughout the years are drastically different than they are from one another. I mean, the last Dart that they have was basically like similar to what was that car that Chrysler used to have? A Neon. Remember that? The Dodge Neon? Almost like looked better than a Dodge Neon, but and they ran it for 2-3 years and go, oh, hold on a second, this isn't a bad idea. Let's cancel. Let's axe this. Nobody's buying this. He plays guitar, so did he end up getting the Did he end up signing up for Rick Beato's thing? Whatever the thing that he's, whatever that thing that he's always pushing. He doesn't push it that bad. He just mentions it a couple times. I'll be like, you know, that doesn't work for many of his listeners. Like, that wouldn't work on me. I'd be like, you're a better painter than I play music. And you never paint, and you're still a better painter than I would be a musician. Like, I don't have the musician's gene. Try to make all these little details pop. The corrosion and stuff on this car is really going to be noticeable on purpose, because it's pretty much a uniform color. So adding something that looks just remotely different is really going to stand out. Alright, I think that's good. Let's run some of this in between these barrels to make it stand out. In the past, I would have called this a Gatling gun every time. The game calls these miniguns, which to me a minigun is always man-packed. Minigun would be like a Predator, you know, something like that, man-packed on a person. This would be a Gatling gun. And I started hearing people call it a chain gun, and that's kind of my default thing, you know, because the ammo's all chained together. Like, you look at this, I'm like, how could this be a minigun? It's freaking huge. Well, maybe this one is not, but one thing's for sure, I got a lot of weapons left, but I don't have very many of these left. This is a popular choice in a lot of vehicles, so. Now the Camaro's not going to have one of these. And so the only thing I don't really like about the rules of the weapons choices is, well, there's two things. I don't like that flamethrowers are 2 slots. I'm not going to change it. I mean, it is what it is. I don't like that flamethrowers are 2 slots because it's hard enough to get a shot anyways. Many vehicles are dead before you get that first shot in. And then if that first shot can only take place at flamethrower range, well, that's really pretty limited. Although we have seen those things go off, and they're certainly entertaining, the repercussions they can have, but putting all your eggs in the basket of having a flamethrower that may not work is, you know, just one of those things. And then you got, you know, rockets and bazooka, both of them take up 2 slots. You know, like cars. Cars, there's a lot of vehicles that have 2 slots. You got that are pretty common. Buggies, cars. Well, that's it. I mean, the trucks get a 3rd one, but, you know, the vehicles that go into 5th gear, they only have 2 slots. So, you know, if you put rockets on it, that's it, you're done. And there's only like 3 ammo in them, right? So it's not like It doesn't sound like it's a lot. You get to fire 3 times, but it's enough. A lot of vehicles don't even get to do anything. So, they'll die before they do a damn thing. All right. I think at this stage, we're going to do the weathering. Because that's going to tie in the wheels and see if I need to do anything else to it before I do the drippings. And the drippings will be last. It's the weapon and the fuel supply. Yeah, it's just a big, putting everything in one basket. But that's why I'm not letting everybody build their own vehicles, because that's what happened. The first 4 times we played Gaslands, when Scott was here, Scott was the guy that was running it. Not that he did anything wrong, but it was like nobody pre-planned anything. It's like we show up, nobody has a car, we're all writing them down on little pieces of paper, trying to design them. We're all basically designing the same fucking vehicle, right? I don't know if we were playing 30 points or 35 points or 40 or whatever it was. One vehicle. They all had a submachine gun. They all had a minigun on it, at least one. We're all building the same damn vehicle. Nobody's building rockets or anything like that. So, they look cool, They're nasty if they hit people, But, it's kind of like a DBA. You have a DBA tournament, you don't want everybody to show up with the same army. It's freaking, boring, Everybody needs to have something. No civil wars, right? No civil wars. Everybody has a different army. All right, Chocolate Brown. We have Chocolate Brown out here. And U.S. Field Drab, wherever she is. Is it this one? No, this is the British uniform. Oh, English uniform. Excuse me. This is Iraqi Sand. Nope, it's Buff. It's Kissing Cousin. There's Iraqi Sand. And it's this color. There we go. So we're not going to work on any vehicles. I could stop that nonsense whenever I want, but I got a lot of things that are half opened that I'd like to complete them, because it's I really don't have any vehicles I hate. Let's just knock them out. Let's just knock them out. Oh, this is still a little wet. Why does your handle have all that nonsense behind it? Z1X. Marty's Cyborg. Well, you can't go by that. He's got to go by Z1X. Oh, we need more. We need a fat, juicy one. 32 shield transfers done. 32 to go, but you got to take a break. I go Hunchback of Notre Dame mode when I'm doing these transfers. Yeah, you got to be really careful if you could hurt yourself. And I don't mean that in a permanent way, but, I have this chair. I bought this table because it was a certain height. And I have this chair because I can lower it a certain distance. So the same distance from the seat of the chair it is to the bottom as it is to the table. That way you can work, you can stay kind of erect, and not be I get it. All right, let's practice down here. Hunchback of Notre Dame. I don't know that I've seen that movie. I think I have. The kids movie. I don't know if this is one of these cars that people would go gaga for. There's some cars that if somebody shows up at a traffic light in a classic car, some people would just go gaga for. I had a friend of mine who had a 70 black 70 Corvette Stingray, and this was like a 92, which I guess is not that old of a car now that I think about it back then. But people would just lose their shit over it, you know? Like the DBA Opens where everybody brought free company, Tibetans or Vandals. Well, that's what works for me, you know? I mean, but you need to be at a comfortable height. Like, I'll raise this a little bit to get some height advantage, some leverage, and I'll forget it, and it's like 3 inches different, and I'll be like, man, why does my neck kind of hurt a little bit because of that? If I'm at this height, I can do like 10 hours, you know, easy. Or 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. I think that's what I did one time. Unintentionally, that was what the length was, but I got up and did different things, but I drink enough that, you know, normally it'd be like, man, my ass hurts because I haven't moved, but I drink enough stuff, I got to go to the little boy's room. Well, I choose to go to the little boy's room, you know, to stretch a little way. You stretch in a little boy's room? Yes, right in front of the little boys. You know, just move around a little bit. Okay, not go apeshit crazy with this. Still got to leave other colors to throw on top of it. Yeah, so the wheels are just a little blue. Just do something different. Ties in with the blue that's on the car. That kind of thing. Heavy Metal Hailstorm. That's got to have a lot of firepower or that name doesn't work. You know? Again, doesn't have a ram. Not armored. And I might get tired. I'm like, you know, let me work on that tank that I said I was going to work on or something. You know, but at least let me knock out some cars with using this kind of mentality of, you know, the things that I've already started working on it. Because the reality is, if I've already taken it apart and I've already clear coated it and I've already given it a brown wash, that's the stuff that takes a while. Like, you know, like the rest of it, like this painting part, that just pretty much will take care of itself. You know, I could do it indoors. I don't have to stop the video to do it, that kind of stuff. But I got all the cars. I've got sheets for every car I have. Well, except the one I got done yesterday. So now we're back to having only one vehicle with no sheet. So hopefully we won't let it grow more than like 4, and we'll do those. Okay, now Iraqi sand, of course. Ubiquitous. Not sure where that text after my name is coming from. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's already a Martin Schmidt. I'm pretty sure I can't use my name if I wanted to do that. There's one hobby store, the game shop in town, had like this reward system, right? They don't do it anymore, but they had this, like, if you enter your email or whatever, that's like kind of your password, and you accumulate points every time you buy paint or something like that, which, you know, I never got any. I don't buy paint that often. Like, they showed up too late. Like, I already got all my paints. You know, like, I don't need any paint. But anyhow, so enter your email. I couldn't enter my email because actually there's a guy that has my name that lives in town, has my first and last name, and his email address is my first and last name, which is also his, at gmail.com. I'm like, that motherfucker took it. And he lives in this town. Like, you know, because I don't want to use, you know, Space Cadet 74 or whatever. I'd like to use like my own real name. I don't go and cause nefarious things. You know, I don't want to like post anonymously, you know, so I can cause trouble or whatever. That's like not important. I'd rather like people know who I am when they get an email from me, because it just avoids confusion. You know, I don't have to explain myself. But you can't do that if somebody took your password. If they took your name. Like, that son of a bitch has my name on it as a Gmail. Like, oh well. I'm probably older than him. I got first dibs. Get out of here. I'm probably older than him because it's, you know, the game. And I'm not related to him. You know, so. It's bad enough when I call one of my customers on the phone. There's a couple of them. But there's a Tony. I said, hey, Tony, this is Tony. You know, I'm like, oh, shit. That's just awkward. It's like you're having a conversation with yourself, and worse than that. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I think we need to put a little bit of this in certain places. Very little. All right, now it's drippings time. It's one of those that's one of those sayings that might bother people. Oh, you said drippings. Well, that's just his last name. What's his first name? Moist. Moist drippings. I can't handle it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a word that people were like, oh, I can't stand the word moist. I could see if the word you didn't like was crusty. What's wrong with moist, man? We got a little bit of water there. Let's go ahead and put this back on the pole. I wonder what kind of a turnout they're going to have at Recon. Maybe everybody will show up since I won't be there. Nah, it'll be the same thing. I'll be there and then they're not there. Same old, same old. Of course, that depends on the person. Some people do that the whole time, all through life, they go that way. I know there was this one guy well, more than one guy. Oh man, where do you guys play BBA? I said, oh, we play twice a year. Oh, where? Oh, outside Orlando. Oh, that's great. I live in Orlando. Oh, cool. Well, we'll see you next time. Oh, I'll be there. Never showed up. Still never showed up. Just got tired of people crying wolf. It's not one person. It's like, a dozen. And that's just, I'm sure that's how they are about everything. I used to always attend the meeting. You know, the meeting that they had on Saturday, right for the convention, whatever the hell it's called. The business meeting, whatever. Yeah. Makes it sound like it's really unpleasant. Never missed one. And then the one time I missed one, I got talked into going to dinner or something like that to skip it, was the one where they had the coup. I don't even remember what went down, but the whole Chuck Kennedy coup thing. I'm like, really, what are the odds that the one that I missed, that all goes down? I don't even know it was a coup. Well, I'll just call it that. You know what I'm talking about. I'm like, son of a bitch. You know, so then you got to hear hearsay what happened. You know, which, you know, hearsay is always full of nothing. And now I'm like, I don't even go to them. I don't even go to them anymore. You know, and I would have gone to the convention on Friday and just stayed Friday, which is, I think, what I've done the last 2 times. Certainly the last time I did it, that's what I did. And just come back on Saturday, or, you know, do the rest of the weekend stuff, except that that's the day that I need to go to Busch Gardens with the daughter, because, you know, they got a concert that night, coincidentally. You know, so it doesn't make any sense to do it on Saturday because they won't have that concert there. So it kind of helped make that decision. I was on the fence about going anyways. But it's been probably about a year since I don't post things on the HMGS South Facebook page anymore. I post things on there and I get either very little traction or very little interest. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just stop posting things here, and I'm not going to run games of the stuff that I do at HMGS South events anyways. So just saved me one less place I have to cross post anything, you know. I'm not a fan of beating a dead horse. Like, okay, well, just because you don't value my time, I don't mean you, any person in particular, I just mean in general. Just because you don't value my time doesn't mean I don't value my time. Like, I could just be doing something else. Like this. We do this so I don't have to be on that medication everybody else is on. Hey, you play with toys? I said, yep. It keeps me young. It keeps me from having all that medication everybody else is on. All right, we're going to put... I think this one's ready to be glued down. I forgot I needed to do that. I wouldn't have done it up to now anyways, but... Oh boy. Height advantage time. Should have used the slow glue. We gotta make sure we nail this right on the back first time. Whoa, 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 whoa. One on the back doesn't get glued down. It's turreted. That one does. I'll go ahead and attach it. Probably too big a piece. We'll have to remove that when we clear coat it. All right. So what's going to get drippings over here? All these chain guns, all they all have to have this. All of them have some kind of lubrication. It always seems to drip, whether it's porcupine oil or something. Sure, why not? Let's add some of the dark tone to this. Yeah, that phone call I didn't answer, didn't leave a message. I'm glad I didn't waste my time. If it's important, leave a message. That's the thing I'm encountering at the time, all the time now. All of a sudden, you call somebody, right? You call somebody for, work-related stuff at work, right? You call a customer or something like that. Hold on a second. May I ask who's calling and what's in regard, and we'll find out if they're available. I'm like, all right, well, two can play that game. So I screen all my calls. I got a number I don't recognize, I'll screen it. Because I get a shitload of phone calls that are just advertising for crap that we're never going to need. You're taking my time away from real customers. And they don't take no for an answer. And like, all right, I don't know who you are, leave a message. And many times they don't leave a message. Or sometimes they'll do like, hey, Tony, this is Frank. Give me a call back at this number. They won't even say what it's about. I'm like, I don't know any fucking Franks. Ain't no Franks. We don't have any customers that are Franks. I don't talk to purveyors of bullshit. And we had these plates that I wanted to cover up that window. but I wanted to split, so I etched a little split in it, so that plate still opens with the door. Otherwise, you know. And how much longer am I on here? It's shy of 7, for sure, Tulane, for sure. Come on, man, let's get it done. We can do it. Now, I do have about 4 or 5 vehicles I need to seal. But that's just like, you know, done. Well, it takes a little longer than that, but, you know, those doing multiple vehicles at the same time makes sense. So, I'm really not in a hurry. Now, this has like a scope or something like that, and I think in the past, I have used one of these. I did not paint the scope. We will paint the scope on this Joker, though. But we do need to do the taillights and the headlamps too. Yeah, I gotta get it done. Basing's gonna be fun. I have some good ideas. Who are they gonna fight? Themselves? Is it gonna be Greek on Greek? Taking it like a Greek. No matter who you're playing, you're taking it like a Greek. All right, let's get. I know we're gonna need red. Might as well just put the red out there. We know we're gonna need red. Yes, I listened a little bit more since the last time we talked that Alexander Dan Carlin thing. And he's definitely an Alexander fanboy. You know, I'm not saying Alexander was a piece of shit or anything, or that he would, in the sense that he wasn't a good commander, but, you know, they're making a big deal out of him kicking the shit out of people that are just like, you know, if it was a DBA army, like, they wouldn't stand a chance, you know? Like, you know, you're not fighting somebody that's, you know, competent. That probably has, like, no training other than, like, you're the freaking king of the tribe. You know? Greek on Greek. You have another Greek army do this one? Yeah, the Greek on Greek armies actually, believe it or not, in my experience, are a lot of fun. We've had a lot of really good fights with Greek. And you think, like, it's really boring. It's almost the same army. I don't know. It's just, I'm a fan. I am a fan of those. Okay, let's look at a 1968 Dodge Dart. Let's look at rear. And find a rear that looks similar to this one, because there's always little variations of it. Alright, we're going to paint this whole thing. Let's remove this so it doesn't fall on us when we don't want it to. We've had really good fights with the Greeks. And it helps if you use the right black. Is there a popular army you would never do? They're a popular DB army, you'd be like, there's no way in hell I'd build these guys. I don't think that there's one. Well, All of them now, but just when I was doing them, I don't think there was anything. Um, there's armies I wouldn't build because other people I knew that I played with regularly already had them, so it's stupid to have the same damn army. It's not like they had stuff that I absolutely had to have. Just hey, if you have an army, that just keeps me from building that one. Like I wouldn't do Carthaginians, not because they're Carthaginians, just like I know lots of people that have Carthaginian armies. I mean, what good is it would it do to have another Carthaginian army? You know. Maybe Imperial Romans. I like the early Republic and the fall of the West, but the Middle Imperial Romans don't interest me. Middle Imperial Romans or the Imperial Romans? Yeah, I like the early Republic guys. I like the guys that fought Hannibal. And even the Caesar time period ones. I don't know. I don't really care about the Roman Empire. They're like, just seems like they're really extra corrupt, like extra like if you're going to be the military commander, that's because you're freaking good. Not that you've got connections, but I mean that could happen anywhere. But that's a hard army to win unless you're fighting barbarians. I mean, half of your foot is like auxilia, like there's a lot of situations where that's like a liability. Romans with a segmented armor, the ones you see in the movies all the time. Yeah, early Imperial. Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't build that army because, well, lots of people have it, and they're not very good in DBA. They're not very good in DBA. They might be good in other games. What's interesting is other games, what armies are really good, and in DBA, they frequently are not the same thing. Like, for instance, in Armati, one of the best armies in the game is the Mongols. You had more luck with end illusions than they should have had. Yeah, best case scenario, they have 6 skirmishers. See what I did there? I didn't call them the PS thing. 6 skirmishers. My feudal Spanish, I had a hell of a time because I was trying to learn how to play the game. And I'm trying to do it with an army that has no bow, and I'm a bow fan. Because you can win with bow and not take any risks. Not in every situation, but you can throw a bunch of ones, and as long as somebody's not shooting back and you're not in close combat, no harm, no foul with a bow army. Make the other guy roll ones. But they got 4 skirmishers, the feudal Spanish. I was like, I mean, I could do things with 4 skirmishers, but not when I'm starting out. You gotta, you gotta play keep away a little bit. And, when you're starting out, that's not a normal thing to figure out how to do. Like I said, DBA is probably the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life. It's really deep. That's probably why I played it for so damn long. It's challenging. Okay, we got the backup lights in the middle. Now there's all kinds of different backs of these. Some of them have them solid black. Some of them are like almost like color coded. I think I'm just going to ignore it. Oh, here's one that's solid. Yeah, we're going to leave it the body color. And Delusion is one of those armies that I almost got to. I bought the figures for them and just didn't get to them. Literally, the last Historicon I went to, I picked up the figures for them and Granada and the medieval Spanish. And I may build them one day, but it won't be for, that game. It's probably not likely, but. Alright, these little blinkers, I think, are they orange? No, they're white. That's weird. Okay. Let's do our little blend here. Yeah, my favorite crappy army was my Irish. Man, I love my Irish. And one of the things I like about them is that that's not water. That would just foul up this brush something fierce. Is that I found an interesting way to paint them that made me happy and still retain them basically being peasant looking. And that's actually what I like, is that you paint an army that has very few nobles and everybody else is just dregs. And if you find a way my Moldavians and the Wallachians are the same way. And if you could find a way to make the little guys interesting, then it's kind of cool, All right, man. I never did like book one. You just don't know anything about it. Like so little is known. It's generally only one source. However you feel, whatever it is you feel, however it is that you feel about the Bible, right? The Bible is only one source from the viewpoint of one civilization. What's that tell you? I don't know. But they still don't give you uniform colors. You studied Spanish, the Defense League Institute. I was drawn to the Spanish armies, and illusions were really cheap to buy. They are. Well, you know what I said when I was trying to get people into playing DBA? It's like, if you don't know what army to pick, find out what you are, and then play that army. That's what I did. My background is Spanish. That's where my people come from, the olive pickers. Build that army. I mean, unless you hate who you come from. Like, shit, I'm German. I don't want to be fucking German. I ain't building those guys, right? I had a guy that used to come in on Saturday mornings. He was like I don't remember what his name is. It was probably 2-3 years ago. Well, it was when I was doing DBA stuff. And he was like, he said he was half Thai and half German. He hated the fact that he was half German. Well, now you know who to take it out on, your mom or your dad, whichever one it is. As I like to say, is people they wouldn't build these armies because, I don't know anything about the Thai. I don't know about the Thai army, so I'm not going to build a Thai army. So wait a second. You're willing to eat the food, but you're not going to build the army. Like the army is a lot more interesting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let's get the shiny stuff. I think these are one of the things I really enjoy about the game. And I don't have to do this, but I like to make the cars look kind of like what the real car is. Like that's the whole. I don't want to turn this into some Mad Max catastrophe. I don't mind if some of them are that way. You're already going to have some vehicles that are made up, right? So if you know this is based on a 1968 Dodge Dart, well, paint it like a 1968 Dodge Dart. At least, like the headlights and stuff like that. That's what I do. You don't have to do it that way, but I like that. I like the tie-in. It makes me look at cars. I'll, be like, okay, well, what kind of horsepower does this thing have? It becomes educational. And some people don't want an education. I get it. But I think it's kind of it's a second kind of cool, right? Who is it that says that? Somebody says that. Second kind of cool. That Hickok 45, I think Hickok 45 might be the one that says that. Not that I haven't seen this stuff in years. Either that or Joe Rady. I forget which one it is, but ever so lightly. Nice. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. We've got a little lens here we need to paint. %36%. We're gonna charge this bitch. I don't like my phone being low on power. Just like I don't like my laptop being unplugged. You might need that power when you don't have any. Okay. All right. Heavy metal hailstorm. Let me know if you want to see the front of the picture. I'm not going to show it to you guys. If you want to see it, I'll take a picture and show you. If not, that's okay. You don't have to care about what I'm doing in detail. It's all about, I'm running my mouth while you guys are getting stuff done. Trust me, I get it. You're helping me getting things done by letting me run my mouth. All right, let's get that Camaro out here. Guys, this needed to have a lot of firepower or the name doesn't work. Or the name doesn't work for me. Let's grab the Camaro. It's already sealed, stripped. Well, stripped down to parts, sealed. I think I know where it is. It gives me too much trouble. I just pick a different vehicle. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like I don't have lots of choices. It's not like I don't want to work on lots of these. I do need to go to the little boy's room, so I'll be right back. All right, let's find that Camaro. Let's make sure it's not here. It's not, okay. Because I know it's going to have like twin AKs on the front. And that'll, eliminating some of these will eliminate some of these that I've got with parts strewn everywhere. We need to find the body. And I waited to do it. I think in a good way, I waited until we made our first vehicle that actually had like really bad corrosion on it. Or pretty bad corrosion anyhow. So we found a way to do that we were happy with. That was kind of a sticking point. Wasn't too sure how that was going to turn out. I think she's here somewhere. Nope. That's not it. Well, the only other place it could be is it could be zero. Oh, it could be in that bin. Show it. Okay, I'll show it. Damn it! Pull your pants down. Show it. No, not that. Not that kind of show. All right. Has way too much kickback, as I like to say. Way too shiny. The light balance is all fucked up on it. There we go. Let's look at the front of it. It's not doing any favors being on this unimpressive looking little I normally don't tinker with my pictures, but the problem is when I take the picture, what it shows is not what I'm looking at. So I need to turn it into like what I see. Okay. Yeah, actually, it looks a lot better in real life than this. This is a big, just by the nature of it being metallic. It's kicking a lot of the shine back to me. Like I'm looking at that picture and I'm like, man, that doesn't look very good. Like it looks like boring and there's all kinds of subtle like colors in it. You can't tell by that. Oh well, hopefully I'll take a better picture of it when we post it. All right, on to the Camaro. Well, we're going to look at cars. I know you guys like looking at cars. Oh, I think I found where it's at. It's not that far away. Let's see. Is it this one? Nope. This is a big reason why I need to do this. Like, these have gotten out of control. Nope. And I don't really want to take any more cars apart until we work on the ones that we have. I don't mind having loose ones, but having it in pieces, that's not really good. We got some. Look at this wacky shit. We got wacky shit we can do. You know, like a freaking alien or some shit. All right, we're looking for a Camaro. A Camaro body. All right, so it's not here. It's not going to be in this big bin. So the only place it could be is here. All right, so we got that bug here. We got some kind of a Hummer, a Ford GT, Jungle Jim's car. That shouldn't be in here. Here's that bus. Bus to move. See the fajita truck. See, this shouldn't be in here. This thing has already been clear coated with brown. There's going to be a flamethrower for the you know who's. Yeah, here's another Mexican Impala. I think that's an Impala. That Nürburgring Rex mobile. The green Torino. It wouldn't be in this bag. It's going to be loose somewhere. Taking it apart. What's this? Another Camaro? 67 Pontiac. That's not it. I'm looking for something that just has the body of it. It's here somewhere. I'm surprised that it's in here though. That's not good because here it is. It's upside down. Here it is with the windows. And here it is with the bottom up. Is this the bottom to it? Quick Bite. What the hell is Quick Bite? Oh, Quick Bite is this guy. I'm glad I kept digging. Okay, this is the bottom of the fajita. The fajita truck's getting the fuck out of here because it's like good to go. It shouldn't even be here. This was like, man, you gotta get everything put together. You gotta put everything away. They're coming to clean the room, kind of thing. All right, let's put these guys back. All right, I like all this stuff. All these will be cool. So it's this balance of you can't spend an age on each car. Oh, good, I found this thing. We talked about this thing. This is the Simpsons mobile. That one does not need to be in here. That one's going to have like wheels on it like this. It's going to be big old redneck wheels. Okay. Let's put this shit back. I know there's some people that are like selling stuff. I'm like, I can't sell the stuff that I made. The going rate is like 20 bucks on a car. I'm like, I ain't selling a car for 20 bucks. I'd rather just keep it. Like, what am I going to do with $20? Nothing. It doesn't change my life any. And then I don't have the car, I need the cars to play the game. All right, there's a fajita guy there. All right, cool. All right, so the Camaro and the names for the Camaro. Oh, still not ready. We need the bottom of the body. All right, so hopefully it's one of these. This is why I didn't want to keep creating more cars. Now, I believe this is a Hot Wheels. So this is a Hot Wheels. I believe this might be the bottom of it. No. Okay. Well, we do need to find that. Let's put the super readers on. We'll find it. We found everything else. Look, we found the AKs that go with it. That's the AKs are going to get mounted. I believe they're going to be mounted up here or on the roof. I don't want to mount everything on the roof. It gets a little too generic. All right. So where are the undercarriages? Dodge Coronet, no. And it does say what the bottom of it is on it. I remember that much. This is a Hot Wheels, but it's an old enough Hot Wheels that it does not have the traditional construction. So it actually does not have an interior. Let's see what this, that's not a Hot Wheels. Is this a Hot Wheels? Nope, this is the Simpsons family car. Okay, so we'll put it with a Simpsons family car. All right, cool. Even though it's not going to, those wheels I might as well just take off because it's not going to have that body to it. I don't believe it's any of these. What's this? Disney Pixar. Oh, that's the one that looks like a... like it's the dinosaur car from Toy Story. I couldn't tell what it was. It looks like a slime-looking thing. It's probably in here. I thought it was in here. Well, you know what that means. If it's not here, told you this is why I wanted to do this, because it was getting way out of control. Then I know where it is. And it's in that bin I just put back away. It's alright. Which makes, I guess it makes sense. The top and the bottom are there with it. But it doesn't make sense to go out there and only take apart one vehicle. You know? It's not in here, right? No. That's that one. And I had all the parts in the same bin, but that didn't last long. This is an older one. All right. Should be in here. Let's just, if they're not loose, if they're packaged like this, I'm just going to put them, just take them out of here. This is cool. This is actually Johnny Lightning. This is like a Boss Mustang or something. Has like green wheels on it. That's not going to work. Those get repainted. That looks stupid. Like here's a buggy. It already has with machine guns on the side of it. Another Ford RS. This is the Pirate car. Any of these that are like loosened together, they shouldn't even be in here. Oh, this is the Haley's Comet car. We got something coming for it. This is that Pixar thing that looks like this is that dinosaur car. I had to look up to see what that thing even was. You know, a dinosaur is scared of everything. The one's voiced by the guy for the Princess Bride. Whatever the name of that guy is. Camaro, here it is. Perfect. You don't need the wheels, but you do need the body, because otherwise, you know, we'll just have to lift it or something, you know. Yeah, all these loose cannons, I need to shore up all these loose cannons. And the next one I do is even easier to find than this last one. Alright, so let's take a look at names for the Camaro. Because I did do a search for names of the Camaro. It's a blue Camaro names. And we'll go through all of them thanks to ChatGPT. And I think I decided which one I want, but We'll just go through them all and tell you what's wrong with them or why I don't like them. Camaro Gaslands name. And I've done this search before. It's just been so long ago that... Okay, it's a 1978, right? Well, I'm not sure it's a 78. It might not be a 78. Well, I put 78 Camaro. It might actually be earlier than that. Blue Ruin, Cobalt Carnage. I don't want it. Carnage is overused. Rust Water Reaper. Now, it does have some chipping where the paint is, and I'm going to actually turn that into rust spots. You know, I'm going to actually put the rust kind of like I did on the Bronco. I really liked how that turned out. I had no idea I was going to be happy with it, but it did. And the only reason I did that way was because you could actually, the chip marks were so deep that when I painted the whole thing to repaint it, you could still chip. What are you doing? Get back in there. You could still tell the height difference on it. Like you could tell that it was lower, so it didn't look right. Didn't have to change that. Azure Annihilator. Well, this is not an azure blue, okay? And I know azure is just blue in French, but no. Blue Butcher and a Dead Tide Camaro. I don't know where you got that from. Neon Wastelord. There's nothing neon about that. Cerulean Slaughter. Nope. Blue Collar Killer. Maybe. Midnight Torque, the Cobalt Crusher. It's not going to be crushing anything. Thundering Blue. No. Blue Line Bruiser. Okay. '70s heavy metal inspired. Sabbath Surge. No. Electric Blue Doom. Nothing electric about that thing. Iron Tide, that's not blue at all. Blue Octane, play on Blue Oyster Cult. They put the two little dots over the O. Cobalt Sabbath, no. Neon Leviathan, there's nothing neon on it. I'm going to leave the last one for the one I think I'm going to choose from it. Windex Warrior, I don't see where you get Windex. Smurf Slayer, Smurfs hadn't been made to America yet. Blew Me Away, that's not bad. I actually hadn't seen that one. Blew Me Away is not bad. Blew Me Away is not a bad one. The Sad Camaro hasn't even gotten hosed yet. Why you gotta be sad about it? And the one I think I'm gonna do. Blutiful Disaster. Blutiful Disaster. I like that better than Blew Me Away. Because first of all, it's going to have rust spots. So it's kind of like a disaster happening. Or if you want, I can tailor more funny, ridiculous, more dark, Mad Max, brutal. Alright. Mad Max. What happens if I mix terms? Mad Max, ridiculous. Because I like every name to be a pun, if possible. Blue Balls of Fury. The Moist Menace. Good name, different vehicle. Aquaholic Apocalypse. Blucifer's Middle Crisis. Blucifer's not... That's not bad, except it needs flames. If it had flames, Blucifer would work. Blucifer's actually good. Blue Boy Boom Boom, no. And Boy B-O-I, no. Cobalt Catastrophe. Blue Thunderbutt. This is not that kind of Camaro. All right, how about we go back names, like beautiful disaster. So, like, if this gets blue, let's say we name this beautiful disaster, there won't be another vehicle that will have disaster in the name. It's just too much, you know. Blutastrophe, okay. True blue trouble, feeling blue, blue bayou, bruiser. Well, how do you know it's bayou people? Blues cluesless, no. Beautiful mayhem. Blue without a clue. Bad to the blue, blue on the loose, blue steel breakdown, beautiful carnage. We already have a team that's called Carnage. We don't in the name. Beautiful wreck. Well, it's not going to be that wrecked. Blue thunder blunder. All right, so let's take a step back. What's it going to be armed with? All right, so let's get this thing. It's going to have, because originally I was going to build it with this thing, it's going to have these two. So it's going to have twin, if it's a car, I don't think it's going to be a performance vehicle. We need performance vehicles for things that look really fast. The only exception to that is Cruella's car. I made Cruella's car a performance vehicle on purpose because she drives like a fucking maniac. All right, and I just think that one needed to be all up in shit and get itself into trouble, you know. So this is going to be a car. We're going to just call this blue for now, okay? It's going to be a car, 12 points, okay? It's got 2 build slots. If we do machine guns for both, that uses up both build slots. And even if we make those heavies, which are fine, that's only going to use up 6. So now we're at 18. I have a feeling that this thing should be a bruiser. I don't want to give it a ram. I'm easing off on all these vehicles having rams. As much as I like how rams behave, I don't want to like over ram things. You know? So it's going to be, it's either if it has twin machine guns, it'll be 4 points, or twin heavies, it'll be 6 points. So, and then again, what is it? Is this going to be a redneck vehicle? Nah, it's kind of like a white trash vehicle. So they don't necessarily, you know, like rednecks per se, but. So let's do worst case scenario, or most case scenario. Let's do 2x heavy MG. That's going to use up both of the slots, right? And it's going to, I want to use these twin AKs. I just like how they look, you know. It's kind of old school, and that will be 6 points. So now we're at 18, okay? And our magic number is to get us to 27. So we got 9. So let's go to the rules, which I like doing it on the Kindle, because I have them on the Kindle, and I don't have to worry about trashing the book. And we go over to Perklandia. Grinder Man. Before this vehicle rolls its attack dice in a smash attack, it may choose to add 1 hazard token to the target vehicle for each point of damage it inflicts, instead of removing hull points. I just don't think that is a good skill to do in the first place, and certainly not paying 5 points for it. And it really doesn't need to be smashing things, because it's not going to have a ram. I don't want a ram because then it breaks up the silhouette of it. You can't tell what it is as much, right? Not a murder tractor. Not a powder keg. I just did a road warrior. Bruiser. The collision volume is vehicle. The vehicle declares a reaction other than evade against an enemy vehicle. The enemy vehicle immediately gains a hazard token. That's handy, but this thing's not going to want to ram people. Splashback, it's not a piece of shit. You know, it's not going to look, it's not that beat up. How many points am I short? 9? You can give them an SMG. There's nothing about a Camaro that's like, you know, they're not slippery, they're not, you know, headshot. Yeah, it's none of those things. Moment of glory. Once per game after rolling the skid dice, but before resolving the results, this vehicle may immediately change any number of skid dice to any results they choose. So I don't have a single vehicle that has that yet. Now, I don't know if this has the appropriate look for that. Expertise. This vehicle adds 1 to its handling value. Well, that'll keep it from being a 5.3. It'll be a 5.4. It'll have a handling of 4. That might not be bad. What would that leave me with? 6 points? I also don't have a time extended. At the end of the movement step, in which this vehicle passes a race gate, this vehicle may remove any number of hazard tokens. Might be something you only do once, because most vehicles don't make it to the second race gate. They really don't. Technology, this isn't a technology vehicle. No, this is old school. Tuning, it's not a tuning vehicle either. All right, so let's go to weapons. What was that one thing that we had that you could change that? Maybe. We need some vehicles that don't have perks too. So if we're 9 away, we're going to do a drop weapon on this thing. This looks like something that would drop nails or something like that. Although I think nails uses a build slot, doesn't it? We'll drop oil. Hell, it could have an oil leak. We're going to give it grenades. That's 1 point. So now we're up to 21. Still 6 away. We're going to give them an SMG. That's 5. Now we're 1 away. What's smoke? And smoke. All right. So it's going to have 2 heavy machine guns facing forward. Oil slick, smoke. Can only use 1 drop in 1 turn. 1 drop weapon, 1 turn, but that's it. Grenades and a submachine gun. So based on that, what was it? Blew me away, and what was the other one? Lucifer. We need a Lucifer's a great name. Just not this one. This doesn't look evil. Like, Lucifer's got to be an evil looking car. This doesn't look evil. This just looks like, you know, somebody who's a wife beater. A wife beater's evil. I'm just talking about super evil, like steal your soul, you know, like really, you know. A wife beater guy doesn't beat everybody's wife, you know. So, Beautiful Disaster. Beautiful Disaster. I think Blew Me Away is better. Beautiful Disaster seems like it would just be more spindly. That's not really the word I'm thinking of, but I think Blew Me Away. Blew Me Away. Blew me. Or Blew You Away. Okay. Let's get the hot glue gun, baby. Oh, almost ready for a refill. Let's load her up. I thought I was never going to use all these hot glue gun sticks, and I got more than half the bag consumed. Now, this is a Hot Wheels from 1982, which means it's probably a 1982 Camaro. Probably. And this is not normally how they are. They've got the windshield that literally holds the in there. It's kind of done almost like a Maisto would do it. Just Blew Me. Well, I'm all for the name being inappropriate. You know, as actually I encourage that. I love getting people's panties in a wad. So something about blowing with this thing. Only bad thing about it is it's so dark that all the drippings aren't going to show up really well. But the rest will look good. It'll be fine. You take some better pictures of that thing. I like the blue in the wheels. All right, we done yet? Are we there yet? We were getting there. All right. Let's not be tempted by trying to close this up a normal way. The thing that works the best is just open this up and splooge that stuff in there. So you're done working on stuff, but you're still here. Well, that's great. Superbus. Now, I'm going to have to... Oh. Squeeze all kinds of shit in here. There we go. You can always trim it up with an X-Acto knife if you have too much. This is just so... You know, if something were to go sideways, and I have to open this up for whatever reason, it's easy enough to do. We'll let this dry a little bit. I think Lucifer's a good name. I need to find a vehicle that is blue, that has flames, so it'd be a flame-throwing vehicle, right? Lucifer. No, I'm not gonna. I don't need more vehicles to buy. We got plenty of them. I don't even want. I'd count them, but I can't count that high. It's probably close to 400. It's probably close to 400. And at this point, it's like, man, I better not build them all because I don't know where the hell I'm going to put them. Because these things, I mean, I am prepared to buy 2 more of these, but these things only hold 55 at the most. First world problems. Oh, what'd I get? I felt wet. Okay, is this? It's a little low here, so we just come in here and take that down. The rust is what I want to do. Now that I nailed it, I was really happy with the way that the rust turned out on Rick's vehicle, on the Bronco. What's this? Is it now? Okay. All we need to put for looks is this on the roof or up here. Now, if I put it here, it messes up the striping there. So I think we're going to put it on the roof. I think we're going to put something on the windshield because it looks a little plain. We got that one. There's one I have in particular in mind. I believe it was that one. Possibly this one. Right, let's look at this. It's like something from the Power Rangers or something. No. Or Lucha Libre. That's what it looks like. It looks like Lucha Libre-ish. No. Not this one. I think this is the one. Okay. And we'll keep the back window like that. We're just going to put something there so it looks like it's armored. That's what I did on the back and actually the front of the Dart. We just painted the windscreen like it's made out of metal. Oh shit, here's another one. That's the one off the Volkswagen. Yeah, we're good. About this little thing here. Glue that in place. Saying Dan Carlin had a hard one for Alexander. Yeah, he's a fanboy. You know, I don't have a problem with that, but it's like, you know, at the expense of other things. I didn't know Alexander, excuse me for being stupid. I didn't know that Alexander was a short dude. Well, that explains everything then, doesn't it? That explains it all. Alexander explains it all. Let's start there. Yeah, Dan Carlin's actually, according to him, a wargamer. I mean, not to maybe the degree I am, because I don't do radio broadcast shit. So I'm doing wargaming all the time, or at least building stuff for wargame. And I don't know that he'd be any fun playing a wargame with, but I'm just saying, 1, 2, 3. And he normally, spends a lot of time like elaborating on shit, and he's like poetic the way he does it. And it's kind of annoying. I think in this case, because there's just not a lot of material, he's doing a lot of like what I would do if I would do it. Like I would just, is it this? Or I don't know if it says this other thing. And his quoting thing, because he'll stop, he'll quote a lot of people, and it just kind of gets breaks up the whole the meter of what he's saying. But this one's better than some of the ones that I've listened to him. I like most of his stuff. It just let's remove half of this top one. I needed something harder to push up against, because it was. This has got a hollow core in there, and that's not really conducive to working well. I think we still need to go a little lower. Yeah, it's new to me because I hadn't seen it, but I think it came out like a year ago. Well, that's because the Diadochi Wars are a lot more interesting than Alexander. And the thing about the Diadochi Wars, that's the best Civil War. Because all those guys are interesting. Alexander's just a little one-sided, in retrospect. I found a history podcast called This Guy Sucks, and they did one on Alcibiades, but the podcast doesn't live up to the name. Well, every time you think about Alcibiades, you'll think of me. I just remember that guy, like, I'm reading this Peloponnesian War thing, and it's like, he's a turncoat, which is literally the worst thing you could be, within reason. I mean, obviously, killing your own children, that's bad too. But I'm just being a turncoat, like, just being dishonorable to your nation, is like an attribute I don't think that's very endearing. And not only was he a turn, I don't remember what the details were, but not only did he switch sides or, leave, but he switched sides to the enemy, and the Spartans took him in, and he fucked those guys over too. It's like, I don't like that guy. So when I encounter him in that Odyssey game, I'm like, fuck this guy. I know what this guy did historically. We're not going to do shit for him. He's a super fruity dude too in that game. But who the hell wants somebody who's a turncoat? It's different if you had somebody like say Belisarius, right? Like Belisarius got fucked by like he was loyal and the emperor fucked him. All right, if he changed sides, look, he had good reason to, right? But like this guy, like just changed sides on the drop of a hat, if I remember correctly. Thought you were only one haters. Yeah, he's just. That's just think about it. That's a terrible attribute. It's a terrible attribute. It's like if you get hired to work somewhere, right? You get hired to work at some place, and maybe your boss treats you like shit, and like you want to leave. Okay, well, you're not a quitter. Like you went in there honestly, and your boss treats you like crap. But if like you get treated well, and like you want to leave, it's like that's just not and then you go work for the enemy. It's like, this just not things that I don't, no comprende with me, like I would never do shit like that. But, and that's up to the individual person, but I'm just saying, I just can't come to grips with something like that. It just does not compute in my world. And he has such a unique name, so it's easy to remember that, like, oh yeah, that's the guy. It's not like, I'm gonna just say Demosthenes. And the reason I said Demosthenes is because there's multiple Demosthenes. So many that it's like freaking confusing, right? So if like you think, okay, well, Demosthenes is a bad guy. Well, which one? Well, there's only one Alcibiades. I'm sure there was other people named Alcibiades, but there's only one guy that has like that reputation. Stands. It's like there's a million Hamilcars and Hannos and Hasdrubuls and all that kind of stuff, but there's only one Hannibal, that anybody knows anything of. In the game, he's annoying. I give you that. I don't care one way or another about him. Yeah, I didn't help him. Did you play the girl or the guy? It's funny because that's a game that won't work again. Somehow it got corrupted, and I can't play it again. And I'm certainly not going to buy it again. I did most of it. It's funny because the most unrealistic part of the game, or one of the most unrealistic parts of the game, is the naval combat. But damn, those ships are beautiful. The pirate one too. Like the ship stuff is just absolutely gorgeous. Not realistic, doesn't matter. But it looks impressive. Demosthenes, one of your favorite Peloponnesian war generals, and you're right. It's annoying. There's too many. Yeah, it's like, well, like for instance, there's a Demosthenes from the Peloponnesian War, right? Then there's the one that was one of the leaders of Athens during Alexander, which is a lot later than the Peloponnesian War. It's like 100 years later or something like that. Different guy. I think Pericles was a stand-up guy, wasn't he? Did he die in the plague or something like that? I think Pericles was, from Athens. I thought he was a pretty stand-up guy. A pretty good stand-up guy. There's only one Pericles. There's only one Pericles that, if somebody says, hey, Pericles, you know which one you're talking about. It's like Demosthenes, which one? Paris, there's only one Paris that anybody knows anything about. Yeah, definitely like the Diadochi the best. I mean, it's not even close. Which is your favorite Diadochi, guys? And you know what? It's funny because I thought that was really confusing, and then I was doing the research to do those Diadochi battles, or Diadochi, whatever. It's Greek. It's all Greek to me. Whenever I did the research, I felt like I had a really good grasp of who the people are. Because there's people I would get mixed up, like, Antipater and Perdiccas, and by the time I went through it all, and I forgot what oh, you know what it was? It was the Kings and Generals. The Kings and Generals do an excellent series, if I remember correctly, on that. And it makes it really clear, like, to remember who's who. Yeah, I believe that Kings and Generals really shone a light on that, so you're not confused. But yeah, super interesting. Thrasbulus is someone I like too. Pericles is alright, but he dies after starting the war that ends Athens, so I think he sucks. Well, there's that. When I was in grade school, when I was in middle school, they always did, in 6th grade, they always did the Athens Sparta kind of stuff for social studies, right? Which social studies is kind of a shit way to call history, right? The social studies just sounds like, not anything fun. But I always liked social studies stuff. But I remember being in 6th grade, I always thought the Spartans were cool. And, not really a fan of the Spartans, They're a little too not fun at parties. Maybe the Athenians are too much fun at parties. All right, so that's going to be, we're going to armor the whole back there. That's going to be the vision slot. I don't know how they're going to see up. They're going to see up at the fucking sky, right? Because it's pointed like that way, but got to pretend a little bit. Antigonid, the One Eye, and Eumenes. Yeah, Eumenes is a guy, before I started doing ancient stuff, there's a lot of these guys I didn't know anything about. Honestly, I didn't know anything about Pyrrhus. I didn't know anything about Eumenes. Seems like, if I remember correctly, Eumenes got bent. Like, he seemed like he was a good commander. I think he won, like, all his battles that he was in. And then he, like, got captured and was like, hey, you want this guy? And like, all right, let's put him in a hole. And then he forgot about him. But, like, he was a good commander. But I think he wasn't Greek, right? Or he wasn't Macedonian. Or I think he was Greek, he wasn't Macedonian. Now, all those guys are really interesting. But, being a war gamer, we like the guys that actually go into battle, right? We like guys like Pyrrhus. We like guys like Antigonus One Eye. We don't like guys like Ptolemy who didn't go into battle. It's like, he had like one of the better kingdoms, and he was successful. Like, he didn't get assassinated or anything. I don't think he got assassinated. But, he was just an administrative guy. Okay, that's all good on paper, but, like, I don't want to build a figure of him, right? Like, yeah, I think it's the kings and generals, like, you watch that, and you're like, all right, you could put things into categories, I think Demetrius would be a cool guy to do, because he, like, lost every battle. But, like, so you could play him, you're like, well, what'd you think? It was Demetrius. I don't really know anything too much about him. I know that he was a bit of a playboy. But, hey, that could be fun. But yeah, the Dan Carlin is definitely an Alexander fan. I just don't, I just, my issue had always been that, hey, you're using an army that the dad built. I'm listening to it, and it's like, man, Philip was a pretty sharp dude. And, but, Alexander could have just all fallen apart if he didn't have any person. He definitely had charisma, and he definitely wanted to mix it up, and he wasn't stupid. But I'm getting to the part, like, I need to get to the Persian part. And, with that said, I've listened to many things on Alexander. This one just seems to be the most complete of any of them, because he's drawn from all kinds of sources. And this thing isn't sticking down. I don't know what the issue is here. I think it might not be touching. All right, well, this is like the thickest stuff I have, save epoxy. Nope, I got one that's thicker, and that is the original OG, as my wife would, as my daughter would say. I had to ask her, what the hell does OG mean? Original gangster. I'm like, well, that explains why I don't know what it is. I don't. Me no speaky that. Let's see if I've got any of the OG. I don't. Loctite. It all died on me. All right, so let's use this, the Loctite, but that's thicker, slower drying thing. Gangster to me is like, guys that run liquor, not the guys that, run pimps. Or that are pimps. Kenneth Harl, and I like Kenneth Harl. I think he has a Woody for the Mongols, doesn't he? I am not a Mongol fan. There's no doubt that they accomplished some great things, but some really powerful things, but so did Hitler. And I'm not a Hitler fan. Let's hold this down for a little bit. Yeah, I was surprised. Philip seems like he was a pretty astute guy. And it was a good combination of, warlord and diplomat. Seems like it. And I've found that I've stayed pretty interested in it, even though I'm not playing ancient stuff. So that's good. Did we fuck up? We did not fuck up. Okay. By putting this too low. All right, let's do this. Let's use this same stuff, and we can adjust it. Kenneth Harl getting excited. He has that and once you hear it, that's like all I hear. But I've listened to probably 6 of his lectures. And I like the guy, Yeah, he definitely likes the Mongols. He definitely likes the Turks. Although the Turkish one could have had a lot more detail on it. His lecture on the Turk could have had a lot more. The Turks just are that part of the world, like the Persians. And it just seems like that part of the world has a problem with having multiple sons. Like, that's like the biggest curse you could have, is have multiple sons. Because it's like, the guy in charge dies, and then there's a civil war to find out which son takes over. And that just weakens your country tremendously. And I guess the Normans did it as well. I mean, I'm sure lots of countries did it as well, or lots of families or whatever. But that's the ones you hear the most about is, Persians, Turks, the Normans. The only thing you can do with the Normans is like, just leave us alone. The older brother gets everything. You guys got to go fight in Italy, make your own damn kingdom, which is what they did, but... Robert Guiscard, there's another interesting guy. And Bohemond. Those guys are super interesting. To me, anyways. They're all like hands-on guys, like they're like aggressive and like they get up in there. It's not like, well, I'm just a good administrator. It's like, who you want to read about, Justinian or Belisarius? Like, I don't want to read administrative shit, like, you went to town his lectures 10 or so years ago. He has that Nomad series. I didn't like that one too much. The Alexander one, yep. That Alexander one stays strong. It's like 26 parts or something like that. It stays strong until like the 24th one. It starts talking about coinage, right? And the Peloponnesian War lectures. I didn't do his Peloponnesian War. I did that one with, that was like the first audiobook I did. It was actually the Peloponnesian War. And it was with, it was not through Audible. It was through somebody else. And his Normans are cool. I like when they invaded Greece and fought Alexius. Oh yeah, that's a great matchup. Yeah, and the guy I want to learn more about, like, if you talk about the Byzantines, right? Which Byzantine do I find interesting? Manuel. Well, first of all, it's my middle name, okay? And he was a battle guy, you know? He was a battle guy. Because his dad was kind of like, wasn't too bad. But Alexius wasn't really he was more of a diplomat. And Alexius was successful, you know, but I don't want to read about diplomacy, you know? I want to read about battles. Now, one thing I'm not really a fan of. Here we go. Time to start making some enemies. I'm not really a fan of like when Alexander goes into Persia and starts creating this. You know, like he started. Well, isn't that one of the train thoughts that who poisoned Alexander is they started making the Greeks a little too Persian-y for some people's liking, like I like to stick to your guns kind of thing. I don't really like the Normans that went in there and got all like Eastern-y and stuff like that. If you're gonna let me, choose, certainly it makes painting them a lot more interesting because you can do like different kind of fabrics and stuff like that. Just like I wouldn't want the Eastern armies to be Westernized. This kind of makes them, Wonderful matchup, and Kings and Generals have some good episodes. Which one did you say? Manuel. Which was about 1140s, something like that. I believe that's about what it was. So it was he was Alexius's grandson. If I remember correctly. If I don't remember correctly, well, I don't do ancients anymore, so I get a pass. Yeah, he's the guy that's Manuel Comnenus. I love Byzantine art. It's cool. Yeah, I think he was a jouster. That stuff's cooler, Is it practical? No, man. You need to, not die, but that's what you want to read about, Like Richard the Lionheart, right? Richard the Lionheart was a terrible king, but he did a lot of cool stuff, so you want to read about him, Terrible king, but he wasn't very good, Yeah, that would be the. You've seen my Byzantine army, right? I decided to do the guy from because it was a command post general. This guy sucks. I decided to do the guy that had the command post. The what the hell is it called? Constantinian. But I tried listening to, I was a big fan of the history of Rome, and then the history of the Byzantine Empire, whatever the hell it's called. The guy that did that show, he just didn't, and I've listened to a lot of his episodes. I didn't really like his delivery. It was a little too not exciting the way his delivery is. But I listened to a lot of his episodes. And it just made some stuff that was like maybe confusing, like I was less confused about. Like I am not a fan of the Iconoclast. I'm not a fan of the Iconoclast. Like for instance, like I get it that these guys went into battle and they would like venerate, the holy panties of the Virgin Mary and thought they had some special power when they brought them into, and obviously that's not one of the things, but, same thing like that, the finger of Saint Saint whoever, and they went into battle and they worshipped this thing like it was a god. And okay, but that's kind of cool. I mean, it's like you probably shouldn't be doing that, but it's kind of interesting, as opposed to like we can't have any iconography at all. I'm like, yeah, it's not interested in that. Like the Byzantine iconography is really cool looking, you know. I've never gone to I almost said Byzantine service. I've never gone to a Greek Orthodox service, but I'd like to, just because I love the art. I think it's really, really cool. You know, you don't have to kiss the feet of a piece of work, but it's cool. You know, it is. You always played Byzantines, a medieval two-total war. Your Byzantine army was really cool. So was your papal. Man, the papal army, he pulled some shit. He pulled some stuff that was definitely divine intervention. Basil 1 and 2, Maurice and Alexius. Maurice, who's the guy I get mixed up with Maurice? I get Maurice mixed up with... They both have bad ends. Maurice did not have a good end. Byzantine emperors. I get two guys mixed up. Finally. Give me the list, damn it. Alright. Not those early bastards. Not Theodosian. Not Leo. Not Leo the Younger. Not Zeno. It's towards the beginning. No. God, I hate Justinian. What a dick. Not Justin, not Tiberius. Maurice and... Focus. There's another dick. There's another... Alcibiades. Focus. Heraclius. I get Heraclius and Maurice mixed up. No, Heraclius was actually... Heraclius was successful because he basically is focused between them? Yeah, so like Maurice was like successful, but somehow he dies in a bad way. I don't remember whether he gets captured or he gets assassinated or he dies before he was supposed to. Well, you know, somebody could say, well, he died exactly when he was supposed to die. Okay, but he shouldn't have met that end, whatever it was. And Heraclius actually, and Focus, the empire goes to shit, if I remember correctly. And the Persians attack, and the Persians have some pretty freaking good generals at that time. The Sassanids, I shouldn't say the Persians. The Persians, I automatically think, oh, the Persians, that's like Achaemenids. Okay, and I know that's only one of the Persian dynasties. But when somebody says Persians, you know, the guys that fought the Greeks, not the guys that fought the Romans. The Romans are Sassanids, right? And, or Sassanians. I call them Sassanids. But anyways, they pushed the freaking Romans like all the way back to like, they're like besieging Constantinople. I almost called it something it's not. Heraclius ends up like landing like a force in like Egypt, and like, you know, basically they're attacking the capital, if I remember correctly. That's why it's super interesting. Like, they're attacking the capital, and he's like, well, fuck this, we're gonna go over here and land in their back turf and start creating all kinds of trouble. And he landed in Egypt, took over that, and like he's attacking like the Sassanid capital, and they had to recall the Persian troops back. And he like beat the shit out of the Sassanids. I think that's when the Sassanids were weakened so much, and that's when the Muslims started their picking up steam, and that's kind of what put Heraclius in trouble. It's because Heraclius, I think he was emperor when that battle of the Yarmouk or whatever was. But if I remember correctly, he was like thrust in a really bad situation. He just like, we're not going to fight here. We're going to go all the way over there and take it to them. It was super interesting. The Fall of Maurice, the Reign of Focus, and him fucking everything up with Hercules coming in to save everything would make a killer movie. Yeah, except they'd make it all bad, you know? Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting. If I remember correctly, I think that's... I didn't pass the test or anything, but I'm like... Because I read things to gain knowledge, not to be entertained. You get both, but... Yeah, it was pretty... And that's stuff you don't know about. You don't know about, like, okay, the Byzantines... generally had, I'd say, the upper hand to the Sassanids most of the time. It was 60-40, okay? But the Byzantines, I think, had the upper hand until the Muslims started their thing. And then it was like, okay, now we got a third player, and they got the upper hand on both of them. They knocked out the Sassanids completely. Of course, the Sassanids suffer from that whole thing of, like, they had some guys that really had their shit together, and then they would, like, have multiple sons, and then you got a civil war, and then, that kind of stuff. So, it's super interesting. Super, super interesting. Yeah, that's why the whole Diadochi is also really interesting, because it's that sort of, this guy's making a deal with this guy. This guy's got the upper hand, but he got assassinated, so now it goes back into turmoil. It's like, you never know who's going to come out on top, kind of thing. Yeah, the Sassanids had a couple of generals that were really good, including one guy named Sharbazad or something like that. I don't know. I forget what the hell it meant. It meant, like, something to do with, like, a boar or something. Persian. And he was one of the guys that was besieging Persian. No, not Persian. Sassanid general. Yeah, because when he attacked, when that Sharbazad guy, like, they basically went after Egypt, because Egypt was Byzantine. And he went in and he took, like, frickin' everything, Let's see if we can find out who he is. I don't know exactly this. I don't see him here. Oh, the generals of... I don't remember which guy it is. Is it Peroz, maybe? Which one of his generals was it? No. Khusro Sharbaraz. Yeah, Sharbaraz. Or maybe he wasn't. I don't think he was an usurper. Anyways, that guy, like, led the charge, like, and took over, like, all of Egypt. Well, I didn't learn these cool stories until technically yesterday. Like, in the last 10 years. I guess that's why I played DBA for so long. And it's still a good game. I don't talk trash about it. It's just like, I can't get it to, I want to be involved in something that's like, no arguing, and like, and we didn't really argue amongst ourselves in our group, but it's like, there's people along the world that want to play it differently. Well, have at it, And it allowed you to read about really cool, I would never would have read the history of freaking Rome and stuff like that if I'm not playing Roman stuff, Yeah, focus was a fuck up. And focus is really similar. Focus is really similar to an earlier Roman guy. No, I don't have that book here anymore. It's in the garage. Roman emperors. I'll tell you who it is. It's some guy that Roman emperors. It's a guy that usurped the throne. Is a minor league. We don't want that. Roman emperors. list in order. Here we go. I don't see him here. They got rid of a guy that wasn't horrible. Definitely was an emperor. No. Not Augustus, not Tiberius, not Caligula, not Claudius, not Nero, not Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, nope. Titus, nope. Domitian, nope. Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Pius, Aurelius, Brutus, which guy am I thinking of? There's a guy that did the same thing. He was like leader of the patrician, the guard or whatever, and he's like had him killed, and he took over. He took over for like 2 years and just ran everything into the fucking ground, you know. The same thing happened, but it was like in the 200s or the 300s or something like that. Julian the Apostate. No, no. I need a more. What do you call that? The not the guard. Yeah. What's it called? The Imperial Guard. Roman Imperial Guard General killed Emperor. I know, I'll probably get like 6 different guys. Which guy is it? Praetorian Guard, that's what it's called. Pertinax. It was Pertinax. I think it was Pertinax. Yeah, he was only a Roman emperor for like freaking 2 months. I think that's who it is. Yeah, that happened a lot. No, it wasn't Julian. Julian died in battle with the Persians. Julian died in battle with the Persians. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. A lot of really interesting stuff. Almost all the Persian guys you hear about, all the Sassanids you hear about, here goes calling them Persians. All the Sassanids you hear about, as a general rule, were hands-offish. All the rulers of the Sassanids, they were like, I'm over here in my harem or whatever it is that they did, and they're like, you guys do your own thing. I'm over here I'm administrating. Hey, it's good to be the king of all kings. Pertinax. Pertinax and focus. Something about the names of P start with a P. Yeah, there's some interesting stories there that I didn't know about until I was an adult. I mean, even taking History is all my electives in college and stuff. And, knowing more about it than most people. But still, it's like, wargaming and, like being able to quote unquote participate by, doing research about the period is like when you really get to know about that stuff. Yeah, Julian was supposed to be this great emperor and then invades Persia for no reason and is seriously wounded and dies. You like reading Caesar's histories. I haven't read it because it's one-sided. I'm not a big fan of Caesar. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Caesar. I didn't say he sucks. I'm just not a big fan of his. I'm not a big fan of what's the two sides. I'm not a fan of the guys that are because all the politicians are rich, but like one of them's like like I'm rich and I'm for the rich people. Okay, at least you're honest. There are guys like I'm rich, but I'm for the poor people, but you don't give the poor people any rights. just come out and say you don't give a shit about the poor people. Patricians and the other guys. I'm not a fan of the other guys, whatever they are. But now the one thing I haven't read, and I probably should read it, because I think this is a cool guy. I can't think of what the other guys are. The plebeians, well, whatever. Anyhow, is Marcellus. As Marcellus is a guy that was. It's one-sided, but the battles are good because they're all first-hand accounts. But isn't it just like the same? Like barbarians are hard to get excited about because they got like one troop type. Well, they got mounted guys and they got like UG guys. That's it. There's like nothing in between it. Like the Diadochi have elephants and freaking multiple kinds of infantry and the heavy cavalry and the light cavalry and stuff. The Gauls have like guys on horseback and guys that aren't on horseback. I don't know. It's just I've had a hard time getting excited about building a Gallic army. So I know several people they're like, oh, I don't like playing Romans. I'm like, okay, yeah, well the Romans suck, but they're better than anybody else at the time period. It's like, who's more exciting than the Romans? Like, there just isn't. I mean, I guess the Sassanids are just as interesting, but that's a different period. That's not like an Imperial Roman time period. It's like there's nobody in the Imperial Rome fights that I think are that interesting. From a DBA army standpoint, which is obviously the way I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's civil wars. Okay, yeah, boring. Now, who else does he fight that's interesting? Now, if you move a little bit earlier and you got like Mithridates, all right, well now you could do something with Mithridates, His army makeup's kind of interesting. All right, well it is past time. You didn't want to, it didn't make you want to paint armies. Oh man! All right, so we've got this blue man group, whoever the hell these blue guys are. We've got it primed. We're going to let that dry, and we'll hit this in the morning and see if we can't. We should be able to knock this guy out tomorrow. So hopefully that's the case. I've read the Poison King book. It's worth reading. It's very interesting. There's not a lot known about him, so halfway through the Poison King book, it repeats itself. Now, on Audible, the guy that narrates the Poison King book is excellent. He's only second to the guy that narrates Ghost of Cannae as the best book. He's got a really good voice. Interesting thing is, it's a dude narrating, and I believe the Poison King is written by a lady. I believe it is. It's certainly worth reading. It's very, very good. It's called the Poison King. And it's an army I probably would have built if Mitch didn't go and grab one. He snagged one from somebody. It's definitely an army that I would have liked to have done, because that versus the Romans is kind of a cool factor, you know. Mithridates, I think he might have been the third. He wasn't the first. In other words, there's a million Mithridates also. Not a million, but there's thousands. So, all right, man. Thanks for coming by, all you guys.